Want to learn what's new with dental products and services? Come join us. Welcome, everybody, to the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast, where I am sitting down with the amazing people in the industry and having them talk about their companies, their products, their why, their outlook on the future, all kinds of exciting things, and maybe even some things about them that you didn't know. I'm your host, John Stamper, and thanks for joining me. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to 2019 and a new year here on the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast. I am so pumped to be with you. We've got a lot of great guests, a lot of great content, all kinds of awesome things going on in dentistry, and so excited to be with you. So, thought I would do something a little different as we started the year here. There are a lot of great companies out there offering products and services and all of that. So the goal for 2019 certainly is to bring them on, highlight a lot of the great things they're doing. I want to circle back around with a lot of the people that we spoke with last year and have them come on and share with you where they are in their companies from when we talked last year. But I thought that we would do something a little bit different and kick off the year with a podcast series with an individual who has created a company that I think is very unique and very valuable and very relevant. And so my first guest on the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast this year is Robin Morrison. And what Robin and I decided to do, we talked about this kind of in the last quarter of last year, was she runs a company called Dental Consultant Connection, and she works with a whole host of consultants. And so, as many of you know, a lot of times consultants have a specialized field of expertise, and that's what they do. That's what they know. What Robin has done, which I think is super unique, is she has built this team of consultants, and she helps dental practices determine which one of these consultants would be great for their particular need at that time. So was really excited about that. What Robin and I talked about is each week moving forward, starting next week, we're going to have one of her consultants on a week. We're going to do a video podcast on I've Got 10, and then I'm also going to spend some time with them here on the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast, have them share a little bit about their story so you can get to know a little bit more about them, but more importantly, the one or two things that they're going to be focusing on in 2019 when they work with their dental practices. And hopefully some of that insight can help you with anything that you are looking to do, grow, challenges in your dental practice. So just a little bit about Robin. Her passion for dentistry and healthcare combined with her entrepreneurial spirit led her to become the founder of two successful companies. She is currently the president of RLM Healthcare Marketing and Consulting, which was founded in 1997, and Dental Consultant Connection, which was founded in 2011. Now, Robin began her career in dentistry in 1981, working in an exceptional dental practice as an office administrator and marketing director. In 1997, she began to live her dream and launched her first business, RLM Healthcare Marketing and Consulting. Now, as many entrepreneurs do, Robin recognized more business opportunities and needs and could not resist launching her second business, Dental Consultant Connection, or we'll call DCC. Now, DCC connects dental consultants and dentists to ensure the practice selects the right consultant to fit their needs. DCC has formed a dream team of 35 brilliant dental consultants who specialize in niche areas of dentistry. In 2012, Robin teamed up with Linda Miles to form Oral Cancer Cause, OCC, a Florida not-for-profit corporation. Now, as founders of OCC and partners in additional dental products, Robin and Linda have worked tirelessly to form an organization that financially assists oral cancer patients and their families during their treatment while creating awareness about oral cancer. OCC was founded in memory of Robin's brother, Mike Collins, and Linda's sister-in-law, Charlotte Estep. Both lost their battles with oral cancer. Robin is a member of the Academy of Dental Management Consultants, ADMC, the Speaking Consulting Network, SCN, and a lifetime member of the American Association of Dental Office Managers. It was a real pleasure spending time with Robin. She is just a wealth of knowledge, and like I mentioned, as you heard here, she's built a great team, and we're really excited about bringing this podcast series to you. But it was appropriate that we kicked off with her to share her story, her why, and how she's helping people. So without a further ado, here is my sit down with Robin Morrison. Robin, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. So in traditional digital trade show fashion, where we have people come on and talk about their products and services, but we'd love to start with your story. That's what makes all of this possible. So we'd love to have you share with everybody just a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got to where you are right now.
Sure. Okay. I'd be happy to. Well, for one, I love the dental field. I absolutely love the dental field. I started in dentistry in 1981, so that might date me just a little bit. But my start was working in an incredible restorative cosmetic dental practice with a wonderful leader he just raised leaders within his practice. He was the type that empowered all of us, sent us to continued education all over the country, brought coaches and consultants in to work with us, was one of the first to adopt a lot of the technology that was available in the 80s. There wasn't a whole lot of technology. In the mid-'80s when computers came out, we were one of the first practices to have that. And so he was just kind of a cutting-edge leading guy in dentistry, more intuitively, I would say. And so I was fortunate to work with him for 16 years. And through those years, with a lot of practical experience and a lot of this education that he provided to us, I had the opportunity to really grow within our field and just became in love with dentistry. So that's what I did for the first 16 years in dentistry. And then in 1997, after being exposed all those years to different consultants and experts in our field, I always kind of had my eye on becoming one of those. That was a big lofty goal that I had. I wanted to be one of those people that inspired other teams and helped them grow. So in 1997 is when I left there and founded my consulting business, which is RLM, Healthcare Marketing and Consulting. And I've had this business for 21 years now. And so I've been working with teams throughout the country, all types of practice management. My absolute love is marketing and case presentation. Going back just a little bit to the practice I worked in and what a leader he was. We were one of the very first practices in the country to do marketing, and this was in the mid-'80s when it was really a little taboo, I would say. So I was able to work closely with copywriters and marketing gurus, and we developed like phenomenal marketing strategies that just really propelled our practice to the top in the industry. So that became one of my loves in the work that I did when I began doing my own practice management consulting. And for many, many years, working in practices, I did everything. We'd go in and look at their systems and their hygiene department and, all of their compliance and insurances and do everything. But in the last, I would say 20 years, even while I've been doing it, I've watched our industry really get a little more complex, and as I got to know more and more consultants in the field, I found several that specialized in their area of expertise. So whether it be building a hygiene and perio department within a practice, or specific billing, credentialing, negotiating, all the HIPAA, OSHA, compliance training, and you can imagine what they have to do to stay on the top of their game. I mean, with everything that changes and all the rules and regulations. So we have all these areas in our profession that a lot of these coaches and consultants have become experts, and that's pretty much what they do. They go in and focus on that specific area. And my favorite area being marketing and case presentation, I decided I really wanted to put more of an emphasis on that, because if somebody else can go in and do something better than I can do it, then I feel like the practice deserves that quality of expertise to come in and help their practice. So I would say it's probably been about 8 years ago when I founded Dental Consultant Connection. And I started compiling this team of experts that are really well known in our field, that are have really refined their skills in their specific area. And so we put together this team, and one of the big reasons, just to go back a little bit, why I it was maybe selfish reasons why I put together this team, is because I wanted to do marketing, and that's my baby. So I would have practices calling me to do marketing in their practice, but as we took a deep look and analyzed their practice, they really had areas that needed to be addressed before they did the marketing. So whether it was how the phones were being answered, how the callers were being converted to actual patients, how treatment was being presented, how the hygiene department was functioning. We didn't want patients coming in, if they came in, coming in the front door and going out the back door. And I didn't want our practices spending marketing dollars to bring patients in and not make the most of it. So that's when I started looking for these other consultants to build DCC. So then I could do what I really enjoy and what I feel I'm best at, which is the marketing. So now it's been about 8 years ago that we founded Dental Consultant Connection. And what we do with that is we will do, when a client comes to us, we will do a practice analysis for them and help them determine the areas where we feel we can help them and where they need the most help. And that's also with them sharing their concerns with us too, what the issues perhaps are in their practice, what their goals are in their practice. And interestingly enough, John, it's not always just about making more money. A lot of times it's about bringing the joy back into their day. As we know, dentistry is a really stressful profession, and sometimes they come to work and they've lost that joy. So sometimes it's just a matter of getting better systems in place, empowering the team, working with the team to bring back that joy. And to me, I mean, it's wonderful to increase their bottom line because that's one of the big goals that a lot of our practices have. But when we go back into a team and we've been able to bring that joy back, to me, that's just one of the best gifts for us.
Absolutely. So a couple things. First question that I have for you is, as I took some time to go through your team, which if anybody out there has not seen Robin's team, you need to on the website. It's extremely impressive. So my question is this. Certainly, as you shared with everybody, you have a lot of experience and credibility in the industry, working in practices. So you know what you're doing. Getting people to, or inspiring people, I guess I will say, to move forward and to work with you in this vision. Talk about that. What was that like if you go back to the early days of DCC and reaching out to a lot of these individuals? I'm sure many of them were maybe in the stage of their career where they were growing their business. So collaborating with somebody was important, but it's not always the easiest thing to do, right? It's not. Somebody wants to go help a practice and it takes a lot of pride, I think, which is why I think is so genius about what you've done, Robin. It takes a lot of pride to say, this is what I do and this is what I don't do. Not always the easiest thing. So talk a little bit about some of those initial conversations with this lineup of amazing people that work with you.
You mean as far as bringing them onto my team?
Yeah, like your initial conversation, like I've started this this group, I've started this company, would love to have you work together with me. I'm just curious what some of those initial conversations were like and what their thoughts were.
Yeah, it is. That's a great question, John. So some of it in the very beginning, I'm not saying I'm that well known in the industry. I'm a little better known now. But when I would reach out to some of them, I was a little nervous because I'm like, they might not even know really too much about who I am.
Right.
And it's like, who's this person wanting me to do this? So it was like, who is this person wanting me to do this? And I can remember one in particular, very well-known person. I won't call anybody out on this, but they were like, why do you want me to work with you? And I was like, because you're really good at what you do. And
right.
I need somebody to fulfill this area of what we want to bring to the practices. And so actually, I was really pretty surprised because so many of them really were excited to be a part of it. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because, this is an interesting thing about our field too, John, is we're really good at what we do and in our training and in our coaching, but we're not always really good salespeople of going out and getting our own clients too.
Right. Right.
So, and sometimes it's a little hard to toot your own horn. And so, although a lot of these consultants and coaches are just phenomenal, they're not great salespeople.
Sure.
So it's been a real win because I can toot their horn, which I love to do because I'm so proud of them and proud of everything they do. And of course, like you said, a lot of these people on our team are very well known and are doing great in their careers and everything. So I'm not saying that they can't go get their own business or anything, but it's just, you know what this kind of brings me to? It's getting the right consultant in at the right time.
Yep.
Because it's not the right time to bring me in for marketing if you've got to fix some other things in the practice. It's not the right time to try to really build your hygiene and perio department if you don't have the right hygienist and team to do that. I mean, so there's a lot of things have to go in a particular order. And the thing that I think is such a win-win is getting the right consultant in at the right time. And sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes we'll bring one in to take care of the initial area of concern or what we feel needs to be addressed first. And then once that is addressed and things are in working order with that, then we can go to the next step, and perhaps it might be another client or another consultant with another area of expertise that comes in to help that client. So it's a real team approach, and it's just getting the right person at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's very insightful, and I think it also shows a lot of respect for the dental community because, to your point, there are situations out there where a dental practice will employ a consultant or a coach, and the initial excitement for that consultant or coach could be, not always, but could be, all right, we're going to help you do this and do this and do this and this. And it's extremely overwhelming, as you know better than anybody, Robin. It's very, very overwhelming for a lot of people. And to your point, and that's why I'm excited about this podcast series, so that each week we can highlight a different member of your team, practice growth strategies for both the startup and the seasoned. Because as you know very well, Robin, there are a lot of challenges that someone who is just starting to practice or is new in a practice are going to have different challenges and obstacles than would be somebody that is in a different part of their career. And I think to be able to acknowledge that and then to band together a group of professionals that you have to be able to deploy them when those needs are there, it's it makes sense to me as to why you've continued to grow. A lot of these individuals have wanted to work with you. And my hopes are, as more and more dental practices know what you guys are doing, is they see the real hidden value in that, right? Which is you're going to be able to position people based on where the practice is. And I love it. And that was certainly one of the things that attracted me to us wanting to talk about this and highlight as we start the year. People are getting in their practices. They're looking for things to do. I'll never forget sitting in a practice and the doctor standing up there and literally laying out, we're going to do X amount of production this year. We're going to do all these things. And I was looking at everybody on his team. It was only like the first week of January. And they're like, holy cow, like, I'm going to follow you, but like, where do we start? Right. And so,
where's the roadmap?
Exactly. And so therefore, we thought, and you and I thought, that we would do this in bite-sized pieces and really try to highlight the specialty piece that you have brought to the market. So I love it.
Right. And like you were saying too, the startup and the season. So as we were talking about this, I know, John, we talked about, how cool would it be for startup practices to start out right with all these areas? I mean, then you don't have to go in and fix it, and there's so much lost revenue and stress when you're not doing things like having your systems, having your, your billing and coding and all those things that need to be done in the beginning that can just create such a smooth rollout and really affect the revenue. I was in a practice last year, and I asked, when's the last time you negotiated your fees with the insurance company? And they'd been practicing 8 years, and they had never. And I'm just thinking, oh, my God, all that lost revenue over that period of time. But if you get into a practice from the very beginning and it's all laid out what you need to do to be successful, I mean, isn't that just awesome? I mean, if they will do that. And it's not to say that, that's why we say startup in the season, because it's never too late to go back and get that and start fresh kind of now. so
Right.
that you kind of, you're not doing that for years and years to come, kind of reset and start over and experience that revenue that you wouldn't if you didn't.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's why across the industry, you and I both get the opportunity to go to a lot of different events, talk to a lot of people in the industry, and there's a level of excitement, I think, for the younger generation in dentistry. There's a lot of challenges, but there was 30 years ago. There always will be, right? And they're all different in their own right. But the excitement that I see out there is exactly what you said, which is there are anything most of the time that somebody is challenged with in a dental practice, there usually are people in the industry that have an answer to that or can at least provide direction. And as we go 5 years, 10 years down the road, that gets easier. And so how exciting is it for the profession that those people that have gone through a lot of these tough times can share that with those practices, all in an effort to make dentistry even better? It really is exciting.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love working with the startup practices because it's just so rewarding to get them started out on the right foot and, just lay it all out there for them.
So let's talk about that. I'm glad that you mentioned that, a little segue. What are some, as you and your team work with some of the startup practices, what are some of the I don't know if I'll use the word hot, but I guess just challenges, right? That you see a lot of the startup practices are facing in 2019.
Well, almost all of them are limited financially, right? So it's really making the most of what they have to work with as far as their budget. But it's helping them really kind of get, I think one of the obstacles in answer to your question is really helping them clarify their vision. They're ready to go. They're excited. Okay, I'm getting my own practice. And they don't really necessarily maybe have a vision. So it's helping them get the vision. If they're going to be, opening their own practice and they're going to be getting a lease and getting their financing and I mean, well, okay, what do I want my branding to be? Actually, I'm working with a practice right now that's it's a husband and wife team, and they're kind of going through that right now. And they're like, we don't even know where to turn, and we don't even know what in order to do anything. And so they don't even know what order, that they need to do anything. And so I think that's kind of the big initial obstacle. The other is, what do I need as far as team? How do I get started? How many days a week do I work? What should my hours be? What software should I get? I mean, there's all these unknowns that if they don't have anybody to guide them, they're just kind of taking stabs at it and ultimately mistakes.
Absolutely. And is it safe to say, Robin, that a lot of those things they were not taught in dental school? Is that a safe assumption?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And even things as simple as, okay, they're ready to open, but they didn't start credentialing with the insurance companies or anything. And that's a good 90-day or more window. So then, oh my gosh, now we got to wait on this. So, I mean, it's really impacts them financially. So it just totally makes sense for them to either have a mentor that helps them, work with a coach, somebody that can kind of guide them through that startup period, take out the stress as much. They're always going to be stressed, but reduce their stress as much as possible and really help guide them through the process and ultimately save them a lot of heart muscle and money in the long run. And I'm not saying they can't do it without a coach or consultant, because I don't want it to make it sound like, you've got to have one.
Sure.
It just really can help ease the path for them.
Well, you bring up a good point, and that always is the $1 million question, right? I've seen it myself. I've been involved in it. The question of, do we need somebody else to come in? And I think the evidence is proven that many successful people, regardless of what profession they are in, have some sort of coach, right? It's a good practice. When I look back, over my career and I think of all the different times to have somebody there, on a Friday to, like you said, share your thoughts. Maybe you don't want to get caught up in it during the week because you're serving patients, but then you just need to download on somebody. Or like you said, those little things like credentialing. It's like that voice in your head, and to always know that you have somebody there. Now, granted, we all know the Google is there, right? But that's a very dangerous place. And so I have always been such a big proponent of people bringing on a coach or a consultant to help them get better. And I think what's been so great about dentistry, and I share this with a lot of the people that I speak with, is there is so much collaboration going on, and everybody realizes that there are so many practices to help, and everybody's okay with that. And I think it says a lot about the people that are in the industry that are doing that want to give back, that it does not become territorial. It becomes an issue of fit more than anything.
Right. That's true. And, talk about collaborating too and being there for one another. The other thing that I love to do is to introduce a younger dentist to a mentor dentist that's, been practicing a while, very successful, and has a similar philosophy. And that's been a real joy to be able to do that, because I think dentist to dentist, I think the mentor loves being a mentor, and the mentee is just such a gift for the mentee to have somebody to turn to that is, has been in their shoes and has been successful, and somebody to talk to. So I try to connect as much as I can that way too.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had the opportunity last year to speak with the likes of Dr. David Hornbrook and a lot of these clinicians that have been around for many years. And one of the questions I asked them was, when you look back, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, what would be your advice to a group of graduating dental students or hygiene students or what have you? And most of the time, their answers were, find a mentor. Find somebody earlier in your career. It might not be the same person 3, 4, 5 years from now as you change and what have you, but it is a universal piece of advice that I hear from so many of them. And it's simple, right? There's certainly so many people out there that are willing to give of their time, and it's great advice.
Yeah, I think the mentors, I think they love it. I think they get a lot out of it too. And I think it's a win-win, absolutely. I've shared with several dentists coming right out of school, that are like, what should I do? I don't know if I want to go work at corporate, or, I want to be an associate. I want to be an employee. I want to try to open my own practice. And my humble advice to them is, if I were you, I would try to find a dentist that was practicing the way you want to practice and go work with them for a couple years. Don't worry even if you make a ton of money. Go learn as much as you can. Learn about how the office is run, how the dentistry is done, how their treatment planning complicated cases. Because a dentist right out of school, that can be a real challenge for them. And I tell them, I say, if you do that in 2 years, you'll learn in 2 years what it'll take you 10 years out there fumbling on your own to learn. And I truly believe that.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about the seasoned. So we talked a little bit about the startup, and let's talk about some of the things that you are seeing out there now in regards to the seasoned clinician, and maybe some of the challenges or some issues that a lot of your team members are working on with them.
Okay. So I think one of my biggest concerns with practices, the seasoned ones, is there's been, and I would say 85% of the practices that we walk into that have been practicing a while, they don't have a great follow-up system on unscheduled treatment that's been presented. It's been presented, they didn't schedule, it hasn't been followed up for whatever reason. And the thing like our icon and mentor for all of us in the industry, Linda Miles, says, there's a practice within a practice a lot of times. When you go into a practice that's been, maybe in there for 20 years or so, and you start doing some chart audits, you'd be absolutely amazed at the treatment that's sitting in those charts that has not been done. So I think that is one of the biggest things that we find. And again, this goes back to impacting the bottom line and the revenue within the practice. Some other things that we see too is, some of them have been old school. Maybe they, like I said, practicing 20, 25 years, and they, all the compliance issues were not enforced so much back then, like HIPAA and OSHA and all the record keeping. And they're not seeing the importance in doing that because we never had to do that before,
Right.
and, nobody's ever caught us. So why are we going to get all worked up about this? But you would be amazed, John, how that happens. I mean, I've talked to a couple of our, like Leslie Canham and Linda Harvey. We get into these discussions all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, they just don't get how important. They could lose their license. They could lose their business over this, and they don't.
Right.
They don't seem to get it. So
Yeah.
I think that's an obstacle because just because they don't see the value or the importance of that. Some of it too. Maybe some of their team. They've had team a long time, and maybe they've been underperforming, but they've been with them a long time, and the patients love them. And so, we don't want to upset the apple cart type of thing. And a lot of times, team that's been there a long time, they can be trained up. It doesn't mean you can't keep them. But a lot of times the practice owners are hesitant because, they're just concerned about losing them. And I'll tell you a quick little story. I had a practice I worked with for several years, and I knew from doing the marketing that I did in their practice, it was very similar marketing. We did another practice not too far away. It was extremely effective. And they kept saying, it's just not working for us. And I'm like, I'm not buying that because,
Right. Right.
And so I think we're losing it on the front end in the conversion. And so they knew that their front desk wasn't doing a great job, but she'd been there 20 years, and, patients loved her. And so I'm like, well, why don't you just write her a $20,000 check, and God bless her, because that's what you're losing every month right now.
Yep.
So didn't do it, but she finally quit on her own. His practice the first month went up $15,000. No lie. And he told me, he's like, oh my God, I wish I would have listened to you 2 years ago.
Yep.
I'm like, let's just go forward from here. But a lot of times it's things like that that can be obstacles. And then maybe, not updating their software, not getting current with systems and technology. They kind of get in a little bit of a rut. So I think if you can go in and breathe new life into a practice and get a practice enthused, and like you said earlier in our talk, not to overwhelm them because we take one step at a time, but I think that you can infuse some of that enthusiasm into them and bring the team up slowly, bring the practice up slowly.
Absolutely. Yeah, it still has to be one of the best-selling books of all time for those of us that get stuck in routine. I think it's called Who Moved My Cheese, right? It's like every time it's classic. It's like my father-in-law is so hilarious. We'll be somewhere, my mother-in-law will say something, he'll be like, "You're moving my cheese." He knows he needs to, do something like we all do, right? We've all been there. It's just we're creatures of habit and what have you. And certainly I think that's the value there. And I think what I'm really excited about, Robin, is bringing on your team here, like we said, one a week for who knows. Well, hopefully the goal would be to get your whole team on here, the first part of 2019, and have them share, one or two ideas for those that are starting up, and then certainly some ideas for the seasoned in their specific category of expertise. So I cannot wait to start to bring that to the podcast and have those people share what they do. So really excited.
Yeah, I'm very proud of them. You'll be amazed, absolutely amazed, I'm sure, and so will your listeners. And I think it'll be really beneficial.
Awesome. So as we look to kind of wrap here, as you look out to dentistry right now, I know we talked a little bit about it. What is one thing that you're really excited about when you look out over the next 3 to 5 years?
Oh boy. Well, I'm a person that loves change. So, and I know that's not so common, but I love all the technology in dentistry right now. I love the systems. I love the software. I love everything that is making dentistry more efficient and more available to their community. I would say just probably that's me because I'm a technology freak.
Right. I love it. I'm with you. Good stuff. All right. So how about a couple fun questions before we wrap? Are you good?
Okay, I'm good.
Okay. So if there was a song that best described you and or your career or a genre of music, what would it be?
Oh, Geez, I'm not good at song stuff. I would say pop music, though, probably. I'm pretty high energy, so I would say the genre is pop music.
Awesome. All right. How about a place in the world that you have not been able to visit yet, but is high, high on the list?
Japan.
Japan? Okay. I love it. We didn't hear that one. Last year's most popular answers were Italy, Australia. So it's a new year, and I love the Japan answer. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I love the Japanese culture. So
yeah. How about your favorite day of the week?
My favorite day of the week is Friday because it's date night with me and my husband.
Love it. Love it. All right. And how about favorite time of the day?
My favorite time of the day is when I first wake up in the morning and I'm just quiet for about 15 minutes by myself.
Yeah, that's a good time, definitely. And then finally, how about a book? Is there a recent book that you just read over the holidays or anything that you can share with everybody that you really enjoyed?
Oh gosh, I don't know the exact title. It's The Millionaire Mind, I think is the name of it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Secret of the Millionaire Mind. Yes, love it.
Yeah, that's great.
I love to read. I usually have like 5 books going at once.
Good for you. That's pretty impressive. All right. Well, Robin, this has been so awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on, talk about the great things that you've done, but also what you've built and what you've created in this team of people that we're going to talk with over the next couple of months. And really excited. Tomorrow, we're going to get right into this thing. So tomorrow we're going to have Christine Berry, who's amazing. And then next week we have Manal Sampat. After that, we've got Leslie Canham and then Christine Taxon. So that'll kind of round out January. And then I'm sure we'll have many more. And what we're going to do, everybody, is every Thursday on Facebook on the I've Got 10 video podcast, we're just going to spend about 8 to 10 minutes with each one of these individuals, have them share, 1 or 2 tips or ideas in their special field for the startup in the season. And then what we're also going to do is we're going to record an audio podcast, take a little bit more time and have them share their story that you can download that on iTunes, Google Play, all those areas out there where you can listen to audio podcasts if you want to listen while you're on a break or driving to work, and you get to know a little bit more about these individuals and the great stuff they're doing. So excited to get that out there. Robin, it's been a pleasure. And I look forward to reconnecting with you. I know we said before the podcast, we'll try to do a little video podcast with you here sometime in this podcast series, and we'll keep moving along.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, John. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited as we get to watch this roll out.
Yeah, no question. And actually, I should ask you before we go here, what's the best place for people to learn about you guys and get in touch with you? Certainly if they want to, employ a consultant, learn more about the specialties that you offer. Where's the best place for people to get a hold of you?
They can go right to our website, which is dentalconsultantconnection.com. Also, they can call our office line, which is 727-447-4756, or they can email me at robin@dentalconsultantconnection.com.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, be sure to reach out to Robin. She's built an amazing team. They're doing some great stuff, and have it be a successful 2019. Thanks for your time, Robin.
Okay. Thank you so much, John.
You got it. What's going on, everybody? John here. Hope you enjoyed that episode here on the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast. If you liked the content, liked the guest, and you are looking to add another podcast to your mix of podcasts, just seems like they're growing like crazy, right? Would love to have you visit iTunes and or Google Play and subscribe to the Digital Trade Show Dental Podcast. As I add episodes out there, those will come through on your listening device of choice, and would love to have you become a member. So moving forward, want to let everybody know that very excited to announce that I have taken all of my podcasts, Digital Trade Show Dental, Digital Classroom, the video podcast that I do on Facebook, consolidated everything into a brand new company called DentalCast Productions, doing a lot of the podcasts, also going to be doing live event recording, all kinds of fun things. And we've got a new website, dentalcastproductions.com. That's dentalcastproductions.com. Would love to have you visit the site. That's where you can listen to all the podcasts. We're also starting up a new newsletter. Going to have a lot of great information and content from my guests, and certainly we will only send you stuff if you choose, but I think you'll like it. it. I think there are a lot of great things that so many of the great companies in dentistry are doing, and would love to have them bend your ear and or your eyes in a newsletter for a small amount of time during the month to share the great things that they're doing. So go ahead and head out to dentalcastproductions.com. You can subscribe to the newsletter really easy, and we really appreciate it. And as always, if you enjoy the podcast, we'd love to have you share it out to all of your other dental colleagues. It is greatly appreciated. And with that, have a wonderful day.